All right, so this is sort of becoming a thing. So Ryan Fitzpatrick retires from the NFL. We get him on. Ryan Miller, well, he's been retired from the NHL for like just over a year, right?
Yeah.
Ideally, right? But you recently had a couple really nice things happen to you. Buffalo Sports Hall of Fame, number one. Congratulations.
Yeah.
Did the Michigan State Hall of Fame already happen, or is that going to be happening?
Yeah, that was in like 2013.
Oh, why did I read that that was coming up or something? Maybe I just can't read clearly.
Oh no, I did it when I was still with the Sabres. We did it right before training camp, or during camp, sort of 1 year. I like broke away for like a day.
Okay, forget to even ask that, but congratulations nonetheless, even though it's 10 years later.
Yeah.
And obviously, you're going to get your jersey. There it is behind me. Retired. That's not the literal one. Clearly, I got that in China, like most of us do, because it's affordable. Anyway, congratulations on that. When you heard the news, Ryan Miller, what were your first thoughts?
I was blown away. Very surprised, humbled, honored, all of those things. I had not been in too much contact with anybody with the Sabres just because of COVID, and I was still playing. And then when I wrapped up my career, I just talked to Rich Driller, who works with the Sabres, and he was like, "Hey, we'd love to have you back." And I was like, "Well, Noreen, my wife at the time, she's still my wife, but at the time she's pregnant. And we have our baby girl Kaya, who is 3 months old now. So the focus during that time was I was like, hey, it's COVID." Not really traveling, pregnant wife, sticking to the West Coast. So I didn't hear much. So when I had the chance to come back for the Buffalo Hall of Fame thing, it was actually, I was thinking, we got about a 2-month-old at the time. Probably not the most fun kind of journey, but Noreen encouraged me. Like, she hadn't been back since I got traded. I'd only been back to play. And it really wasn't enough time to see and do anything. And my son Bodie is now 7. He's heard the folklore about Buffalo and how much it meant to us and all these cool stories, but you can't really put anything to it when you're that age. So we really wanted to show him. So this was a chance to show him. And in that chance, I mentioned to Rich would be coming back, and he kind of set me up. I had no idea what was going on, and I walked into a video with Kevin and Don and Rick Jenneret, who I saw a couple of days prior, but then I see him again. It's like, a lot of emotions, even like the staff who I was there for my entire career, the equipment staff, James, the security guard at the arena was even there. And it's just really cool.
I'm sure when that night actually happens, the emotions will be slightly different, because I'm assuming it will be a full house. And yeah, so how will
I hope so.
Or yeah, right.
I hope so.
Yeah, I mean, so how will you prepare for that? I mean, what could you potentially expect that to be like, or can't you? No,
I don't know what to expect at all. I did have a lot of fun coming back to town and seeing the guys, and I reached out to a few of them, and reached out to Marty Baron and told him I was coming. He's like, okay. I go, who's all in town? Like right now, who do you see often? And he put a group text together because he knew all the guys who were in town, and he kind of helped get a few things organized. I got to see some guys I haven't seen in a long time, and that was awesome. And hopefully it feels like that. It just felt good to see people. I don't know if it's COVID or what, but it's fun to be back in Buffalo. We got to go to some of the fun spots we used to go to. Showed Bodie Niagara Falls, see some friends. I hope it's a lot like that, where I get to, with more planning and more hype, I can see more people.
You were never a guy that was too over the top emotional. You were pretty even keeled. I think most goaltenders probably sort of need to be, right? I mean, that's probably how you're groomed as you grow up through all your training. But I'm assuming that night will probably pull some emotions out of you that you might not expect to feel at that point.
Yeah, I mean, I'm a pretty intense competitor, but I think I do have a lot of, emotion, and I think that there's certain points where it's come out. But yeah, I'd love to have that kind of release in a way, because it's like you're saying, I got to say goodbye to the game a little bit on my way out the door. The Anaheim Ducks did me a solid and really let me kind of announce it and have a moment and just kind of say see you later. And I never really got that with Buffalo, so this would be nice.
Yeah, your exit out of Buffalo, I don't think anybody liked, quite frankly. Probably not you.
It wasn't the way I pictured it, but it just seemed like it was kind of inevitable at the time.
Yeah,
just the way things were going, and yeah. So I think it was almost like, okay, I'm going to go start doing this other thing, and then by the time I was doing that other thing, and Noreen and I. We have Bodie 7 years ago. It's like right like the year after I'm traded, it's pretty much baby time, and it's like now that I retired, it's baby time again. So it's fun, but it's also kind of like we got just so busy in that kind of like that part of life that we just didn't have a chance to kind of come and interact and be around. So this is hopefully a chance to do that. We did a small taste of it like a few weeks ago, so I can definitely call some boys and really lean on them to get back to Buffalo and make hopefully a couple, maybe even an extended stay and have a few fun nights out.
I hope so for you. Yeah, for sure,
yeah.
Man, for sure. All-time winningest Sabre goalie, top 40 goalies, wins all time, Vezina Trophy, Olympic MVP, most U.S.-born goalie wins, 264, top 70 all-time goals against. By the way, you mentioned Marty Baron. I'm sure you're aware of this. He probably reminds you frequently that he's actually better than you in that department. But well, whatever. We just,
Hey, Marty is a good goalie. He's got to get his props.
Right. So you played a long time, obviously, 18 years, right?
I did 18 pro. I did 18 pro seasons. NHL was unavailable 1 year.
Right. So there's that. And obviously you played around the league. You played in against, at the time, expansion teams and teams that were and aren't anymore, which is probably kind of crazy to even think. Yep. And you played obviously in Buffalo and St. Louis and Vancouver and Anaheim. I know people talk about Buffalo and the kind of hockey city it is. Talk to people that are watching or listening to this in your experience around the league, playing for different teams. How does Buffalo, despite the fact we're one of the smaller towns in the league, how does the fan base, the city, in terms of its hockey excitement, the TV ratings are always sky high here, no matter how good or bad the Sabres are. Talk a little bit about, having played here as long as you did and made so many relationships when you were here with people here. Where does Buffalo kind of rank around the league for you?
Buffalo is way up at the top for me. Like the experience is like, I think the players who get the Canadian experience and the obsession in Toronto and like almost the paparazzi style, like, the gotcha journalism type stuff. I mean, it's definitely dialed down in Buffalo, but it's also kind of there in that it's a small city. Everyone kind of knows each other and you're not going to get away with much. So you're not going to get away with much on the ice, right? So there's accountability there. And I think that that's a good thing because there's so much pride in how the team does. And I think that without knowing that, as a young player, you're just like, okay, I'm in this. For me, I'm coming from East Lansing, Michigan. I only really knew small towns. I go to Detroit. I drive to Toronto. I go to cities. So I'm going to Buffalo. It's like bigger than where I grew up, right? So I'm just like, oh, this place is huge in a way, but it's really not. It's like it's tight, and I like that because I lived in the north part of the city in Elmwood Village for a lot of years, and I lived downtown, closer to the waterfront for a few, and I was always kind of in the city. That's where I spent my time, and I felt comfortable there, and I liked going around, and I'd go to Wegmans, and someone would have some some observations about things on the ice, and it was fun. Or like an 80-year-old woman would run up and give me a bear hug. Like I mean, you're not going to get that in a lot of cities. Like, I know for sure, I've seen the other side of it, but I love the connection there. And the surprising part is there are little pockets of that in other parts of the world. Anaheim is surprisingly a very strong fan base. I didn't know that when I got there, but very tight, very loyal, very regional to that area. But as Orange County has gotten more populated and expanded, you know, like it's gaining some traction, right? So it's really popular there. And being in Vancouver for a long stretch as well, like it's a Canadian city. I mean, they have the heritage, and they have you know, even if you feel like there's casual fans up there, they kind of know everything. So, you know, Buffalo has a little bit of that feel too, with the history and the pride. So I've gotten to see a lot of it. And I just always loved my time in Buffalo, because I felt like I was, you know, part of the community, and it really felt like I went through stages of life there. You know, I came as a rookie and figured things out as I went, and then, you know, grew with the team, and we had our chances to do good and bad and whatever, and there we are.
Well, I mean, you spent a lot of time in Western. You spent parts of 4 years in Rochester, right? So, I mean, if you do all that math, holy cow, that's a long time in Western New York.
Well, it has almost 12 solid years, and
yeah,
I was like 11 and a half years into upstate New York when I got traded.
crazy. How much of I mean, listen, there's lots of you that probably feel this, but how much of a hole in your heart, playing as long as you did and getting as close as you did, is there not having won a cup?
Oh yeah, I mean, it's going to be there. It's disappointing, especially when you can say you played for teams that were good enough to win, right? Like, and for various reasons, we feel like, you know, we missed out. You know, our first good run, we came up against some adversity with injuries and also inexperience. Like, I feel like if I were in a different place in my career, you know, would I have been, you know, able to make a, you know, bigger difference in that moment? And then the next year, just it completely felt like we ran out of gas. I think we had the younger guys. I think that was our 5th straight year going to a conference final, or 4th or 5th. And I just feel like we were just coming to the finish line, and we're just got blown by, you know, a couple other teams. So it's tough. I mean, you watch the cup final and how it culminated this year. I mean, Tampa Bay knows how to play a hockey game, right? Like, they know how to just be in a hockey game. They don't care what the score is. They'll just be there. And I think they really did just run out of gas, you know, but, you know, credit to the Colorado Avalanche, you know, they made a big step forward, but they play a fast game. But still, Tampa Bay figure out, okay, we're just going to slow them right down. But, you know, the difference ultimately for me became, I think, energy for them. So I think, you know, it's something we kind of dealt with as well at one point. And yeah, I will always have that hole in the heart, but I try and frame it in my mind, and like, I did the best I could do. I absolutely put everything I could out there. It didn't work out, and you have to be able to walk away and say, okay, I did it, you know, as best I could.
I gotta tell you, man, yeah, for sure. And for me, I grew up in Rochester. I started my professional career in Rochester. So, you know, you with the Amherst was great. And then I moved to Buffalo, and having been able to live through basically the Stanley Cup team, and then that next 10 years with you guys were unbelievable, unforgettable seasons that are absolutely indelible for me. Like, I will never, ever forget the times we had, just the exuberance and the way the fan base was so electric. I've never, I think the Bills now are in and around that, but man, we hadn't seen anything like that in so long. And I know we didn't win the cup, but you guys are still, and I hope you know this, and I think you do, incredibly beloved in this town.
Yeah, we had a good group of guys. I thought we played for each other. There's different, you know, when you build a team, it's not going to be all the same groups. And I thought we came together with the veteran guys, my younger at the time group of guys, building our way through Rochester and then graduating to the NHL. Like, we had a vibe, and the veterans had you know, a certain expectation, and everything just kind of, I think we added energy to their game, and we rose to the challenge in a way too. So it was good mix of players and a lot of excitement, and like, yeah, I wish we could have done it.
Yeah.
But I think it's cool where like you're looking around, a lot of the guys from those teams are still doing some pretty cool stuff. So we have a lot of longtime hockey guys at different levels, and you got Palmer's jersey on, he's coaching youth hockey, and we got Chris Drury as a GM, Danny Briere as an assistant GM. Jason Botterill came back for a bit, and he still has his hat in the mix with Seattle. It's just guys from that era. There's just good hockey guys.
You mentioned the Stanley Cup, so I want to go current day, and then I want to go back with more from you. Obviously, you mentioned the Stanley Cup result, and you mentioned speed for Colorado. Did Nathan McKinnon, by winning this cup, did he elevate himself to a whole new level? I mean, you're on the West Coast, so probably a little bit different than it is so all we typically hear here is McDavid and Austin Matthews, right? And then McKinnon is talked about, but probably nowhere near the level he should be. He needs to be talked about as, if not the best player in the game, certainly one of the top 3 to 5, right?
Yeah, he's hard to handle, and he's super strong. Just somehow, being a backup goalie is a little different, but somehow, just the way things worked out, I think Gibby was hurt for a stretch, and I got a bunch of games against Colorado in the last 2 years, so I got to really feel the full force, and yeah, they're hard to handle, and they're coming downhill, if that makes sense. They're always coming full speed, and they got support coming at you, and they just play a really nice system where they're going for it, and they have great support for each other. They got 2 or 3 guys who are going for it. There's somebody's going to fill in. I mean, they get caught once in a while, but I mean, they have the puck so often, and they're smart about when to join. I can see, McKinnon, he's hard to handle, but when you also add in the cast around him, I'd even say just Makar just makes things in the modern NHL, the way the ice is laid out, you couldn't have a better puck moving defenseman. And I wouldn't even say puck moving, that guy's got the puck, right? It's not just he's getting to the line and making a pass. He's going for it, and he's making a play. And it's fun to see. It's fun to see the hockey's, moving in a direction where offense is premium. It's kind of like the NFL bought into that many years ago, and they put a premium towards it. Other leagues, they try and put that, emphasis on point scoring. And the NHL for a long time was, almost kind of dead puck, trap, boring in a way. But it's slowly been working towards something interesting, and hopefully we keep this going. It would be unfortunate if some random coach comes up with something unique to end it all, but I'd like to see it continue.
With Ryan Miller here in the basement, talk about the news from your former teammates, the Sedin brothers. What would you like to say to or about them?
Oh yeah, with the Hockey Hall of Fame for Danny and Hank. Yeah, I texted them a couple hours ago, and they got right back to me from Sweden, because that's the kind of guys they are. They're just the best people you can ever meet. Is so crazy to think about. They're just so nice and present, right? They always take the time for everybody. They were prepared, professional, execution. Everything is just first class with them, and just not unexpected. I mean, that is well deserved, and they are tremendous hockey players, and I just congratulate them, and of course they're like, thanks, what's going on with you? It's always the nicest thing you can think of with them.
It's always about the other guy, right? With them. Let's talk a little bit about, and these are going to be tough questions because you have a lot to choose from. Do you have one particular favorite Sabre game memory, or a couple that you just off the top of your head that you can?
I mean, beating Ottawa to advance was probably one of the more exciting games I've been a part of with the Sabres, for sure. The elimination games are always tough, right? The other team's got their back against the wall, but that one felt particularly good because of our rivalry with that team in that era.
And the funny, we just talked about the Sedins, and Alfie got in too.
No, yeah, yeah, no, another great player, and I think they all, obviously played, the Sedins and then Luongo and then the Sedins and Alfredson. So it's very much they got some friends going in with them. So yeah, how cool is that?
Any great Sabre dressing room stories that you can share, or maybe travel stories on the plane, or anything, anything sort of fun and wacky that some people might not maybe expect?
I don't know. I'm terrible about these, but like I always remember when the guys kind of jog my memory. Like, hey, like if somebody says the right thing, like I will definitely remember. I just had Andrew Peters sat next to me for a number of years, and he's still running his mouth on his own podcast. So there's a lot of fun to be had in the locker room. Winning is fun, but also I think we had a kind of group that found enjoyment with each other, and it was. I will do a little bit of old man moment, but because it's like I do see it, I really hope a lot more of this generation stays like that, where they interact, they have fun, they hang out. Because I mean, we were so like we're on the ice, we were connected off the ice. There wasn't a whole lot else to do. Like we didn't have the options. It wasn't like wired video games and like connecting with old friends like in different ways, FaceTime and all that stuff. It's like we would find each other or go do stuff. That was the fun stuff. We just find stuff to do, and we were close like that.
And a great thing you did as a team that of course benefited an incredible cause was the catwalk. So talk a little bit about that amazing event that you sort of captained, pun intended, and everything that you did here in Western New York, certainly sort of starting with that and some of the people that you touched and some of the memories you had of those things.
Yeah, that one's particularly important in that my family we were inspired by my cousin Matt, who passed away. I don't know how many years has it been now, geez. But he was 18 years old. He passed away. At the time we kind of started things, he was fighting cancer, and we wanted to show him we were trying to inspire him, and he wanted to help kids and stuff like that too. So we started by like selling like t-shirts and promoting some stuff and like doing things. And we just got such a response that we're like, we need to do like an event. And we're trying to figure out what to do. And we're just kind of like, maybe fashion show. Like it's kind of cliche, but it's like it's almost funny because it's from Slapshot, right? Like it's kind of like that, and everyone can get a kick out of it, and guys can kind of get into it. But Buffalo embraced it in true Buffalo fashion. It was like all the bars, all the restaurants, the musicians who came out and also donated their time, and really ended up being a fun chance to interact with the team, but also other local celebrities. We had a lot of people come back for that who were from Buffalo, who were off doing other things, but they would come back and donate their time, show up. And a lot of great memories, doing that. And we're doing some good things with the money too. All the money was going to Carly's Club. Had a great relationship over there with the kids, and it was a lot of fun.
Talk a little bit about that, because you don't hear that a lot. And I appreciate a lot of athletes not really talking about it, because they, it's something that sort of is an opportunity for them doing what they do, right? Being able to be with children who are in those situations, right? And a lot of athletes just kind of do it, and then there's no talk about it. They just do it because they're good people. Yeah. So talk a little bit about like selfishly what you got out of that.
Well, I mean, it's funny, but like when I signed one of my first contracts that was bigger, like I immediately was like, oh my God, I don't deserve this money, so I need to do something with it. So I like bought the kids a suite for the season and tried to help out. And it's just like that feeling of like, just need to do something. But a little bit inspired by my brother, who at Michigan State, he started this thing called Spartan Buddies. And it was all the athletes from all the sports. He was like, we are going to get groups of people, doesn't matter what sport, we're going to go to the hospital, we're going to spend time. And that's how we do it. And it was cool, right? Like he didn't have to do that. He went out of his way to kind of have that idea. and get people together. And then he started getting more help through the college. And I was like, you know what, he's doing a great job, and we have all these different connections. And we would go by, and we had our own relationship with Carly's Club, where I would be able to, Robin Hayes, who was there for a long time. I think she has since moved on, but I just would text her and be like, I got a couple hours to kill today, so I'm going to pop in. And it was nice because, just from our family experience, that was just, you need to break the days up. You need to have something to look forward to and something exciting. And we were able to do that quite a bit. Noreen and I, we were in town, we try and do some stuff, or, even my parents, my siblings as well. So it was a nice moment for us when we had that time in Buffalo, and hopefully it, hopefully helped out.
I'm going to shift gears a little bit, and this is completely like, that was here. This is now going to be over here. You were in a handful of fights in your career. Like I said, I'm going way over here with this one.
Yeah.
What?
Help, try and help children.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
What? It's not what you do. So
no, it's a bad idea.
When that happens, what's going through your head, man?
Well, I think the one that you're probably alluding to, fighting Bernier, that's even like preseason, right? So I don't know, just John Scott got us into a pickle, right? Like, I can't even remember why but he lined up next to Phil Kessel. And from what John told us, he told Phil he was going to jump him, but he wouldn't hurt him. And that prompted Phil's reaction, which was to jump back and try and chop him down like a tree, which was probably the only thing he could do.
That's right.
But I mean, that obviously sparked mayhem, and Clarkson jumped the bench, and so I'm just doing math in my head, like they have more guys I need to engage, but if I engage, Bernier's there, so I'm going to get sucker punched, so I might as well just fight Bernier. So it's funny, it's like, I think it went okay. Like I didn't really get punched, nothing, top of the head like once, and then I got, he got loose, and then I got like a text message from Jimmy Howard, the goaltender from the Red Wings, right, from the years, and he's just laughing, going like, "What are you thinking? You didn't undo your Velcro on your wrist. Like we wear the chest protector with arm pads, and then our style of Velcros, and Bernier's has like elastic. It's like Velcro with elastic. Ours is like hard, like seam Velcro with like leather. And we just, I was like, yeah, that's a good point. It's like, next time, undo your Velcro, get loose, and then you fight. I'm like, okay, yeah, I probably should have taken that into consideration.
That is so funny. Because I mean, I'm watching that, and you're doing it right. You got one hand on the jersey, you're yanking, and you're trying to keep your balance, and you're trying to do this, and so clearly,
yeah. But I was caught at the elbow, right?
Like that's right. That's right.
He had me tied at the elbow. I threw one I felt good about, that was like gonna be a decent attempt, and it just like stopped because he had it the right way. Like, right, that's good defense by him. But I was just almost like, kind of afterwards, I'm kind of laughing, like, like that's why I shouldn't be doing this. Like, not the strongest guy in the world, and also you just have to have the experience, right? Like, you have to know what you're doing, or else you're gonna get hurt. So yeah, luckily just got booted out of the game right along with John, and didn't really get punched, so all good.
What was the razzing? There had to be, everybody had to be razzing you. I mean, I'm sure they were patting you on the back and saying, great job, but I'm sure everyone was trying to give you tips after that. No,
the boys loved it.
Yeah,
I mean, that's how it is on a hockey team. If you do something, you kind of go for it, you put yourself out there, the boys are usually pretty supportive. It's not where you think, like, if you mess up, they're not gonna be like, oh yeah, what are you doing there? It's like, hey, like that, you actually had to put yourself out there. You could have gotten hurt. I thought I did okay. And they thought there's a lot of smiles after the game, right? Like,
yeah,
it was also preseason. So guys are like, what are you doing? Like, what is the point of that?
You, right.
But I don't know, like, it just felt like it had to be done kind of moment. We were trying to we'd had we had to establish an identity, and part of that is everybody's got to do something at some point that's out of character. So you just got to do it.
This is a weird question, and I've always thought about this. And I know there's I guess there's a code, and you can explain it to me because maybe I don't really understand it. But here's this A, right? And then there's a C. Why don't goaltenders ever get those?
Oh, I don't know. I think it's probably just back to the idea that you're supposed to be helping the coach communicate with the refs, and they don't want the delay, I guess.
That's right. Yeah, that makes sense.
Or maybe just one of the goalies way back in the day was just a huge jerk, and they just didn't want to deal with it. I don't know the whole history, but it feels like it's more about just stringing the game along. If your goalie's always trying to talk to the referee and that kind of stuff.
Have you been too busy to miss playing?
Yes and no. I got the gear on with some 6 and 7-year-olds about 2 or 3 times, and it's been pretty funny actually, because they I don't know if it's just kids in general or just kids these days, but they're super confident and super cocky, and I was making sure all the kids are getting a chance to score, and and I heard a lot of feedback from their parents later on, like, man, Mr. Miller played in the NHL. It was really easy to score on him. Or I think one kid was just like, he's not a very good goalie, stuff like that. So it was actually that's all I've done. I don't know. I don't really have the itch to play men's league or anything like that. I don't think I'd ever play goalie in that level. It's just kind of like, if I want to get hit in the collarbone or hit in the head, I'd prefer to get hit by Alex Ovechkin or somebody like that. I just can't bring myself to go out and get hit in the head and hit in the collarbone by a guy who's trying to prove something, in a way. It's not a knock towards men's league. It's just, I know that when I've been on the ice, even a long time ago, when I'm just trying to catch some ice, my dad's buddies or even friends, they really, really go for it. And it's a no-win situation, right? So I don't know. I got some forward skates. I don't have the equipment yet. I might mess around with that. Or even this summer, I'm waiting for some of the Ducks stuff to pick up, and maybe I'll go down and jump on the ice with some of the guys if they need to rehab or do anything, and maybe just wet my whistle. But for the most part, it's the equipment's in the upper storage part of the garage, and it hasn't really moved in the last 3 or 4 months.
So immediate next for you, Dad. I mean, are you thinking coaching? Are you doing TV? You're gonna do any of the above? I mean, obviously Dad, but
yeah, Dad thing's kind of a given. I'm just trying to spend some time and be more available than I was the first time around. Yeah,
so
but
you're changing more diapers?
Well, by default, I'm here more.
Right.
Before, I would always try and go out on my way to help, but for hockey, you're gone half the year, right? So, it's not a fair trade, but now I have a chance to kind of be a little more equal. Obviously not equal because the women take the brunt of everything. So I'm just trying to pick up the slack where I can. And then, I think I do have interest in hockey. I was trying to learn a little bit of the ropes with the U.S. national team. That didn't work out because the NHL players backed out and the staff changed over. So I was going to go over to Beijing, but that changeover coupled with Noreen being pregnant, I just didn't want to deal with that risk of being caught over there. And then I've been working as a consultant with the NHL hockey ops department under Colin Campbell's department. So Kay Whitmore and I do a lot of work on things. He's the goalie guy there.
Yeah.
And so Kay and I have been working on stuff, mainly just how things are going on the ice, goalie interference, interpretations of what's interference and what's not, trying to clarify that and hopefully set a good standard as we keep moving forward. seems a lot of people get confused pretty easily by things and why calls are made. Obviously, there's a lot of emotion surrounding goal scoring, so it's not, no one's going to love every decision, but we're trying to clean that up a bit, and maybe there's some other stuff we can work on, but that's been the focus.
All right, so I'm going to ask you about the current team. Obviously, it's been a super long playoff drought, almost basically back to when you were playing. So kind of, what do you know about the current roster and group and coach and goaltending situation, all of that? What do you think? What should we expect that you're aware of for years to come here?
Well, just from the outside, I haven't had a chance to really, play against many of these guys in this group now, but they seem to have a great young core. They have some big, strong players, which is, good to see. They have a balance, but I think big for them is going to be finding the identity, finding who they are as a team, and building towards the consistency, what it takes to win. Looking back on our group, we always measure ourselves by what kind of game could we play against some of the best teams in the league, and then and we would really critique ourselves, like, okay, how can we get better, and specifically, how can we get better to play the right kind of game to beat the top teams? And it was cool. We get to measure ourselves in that way, and we really did talk about that kind of stuff. So, yeah, I'd like to see them find that identity, find a little bit of swagger, but then you're gonna have to learn how to win. So it's gonna be a process, and I know the Buffalo fans have been, waiting for a while for something to click, but it seems like they have the resources, they have the cap space, they have the talent. It's just going to be, how are they going to bring that all together in the next couple of years? It's not going to be a light switch for sure, but I think that they got a good shot at building something that's going to be strong. So let's see what they can do.
You okay that they drafted a Michigan goalie?
Yeah, you got to cut the cord at some point, but let's see what they can do. They're going to have, somebody's got to work their way through the pipeline and become that, that goalie for them. And, hopefully they have one that can slide in with that group, and they can build some confidence together, because you see how that works out in, not this year. Kemper was a guy who, was, delivered by trade, but there's been a strong homegrown presence for goaltenders ever since the salary cap came into play. I think Kemper is maybe only the third goalie who was a free agent or trade to win.
Yeah, and then how important is coaching? Lindy seemed like the right coach for your group in particular. You've obviously played for a bunch of coaches since. How important is that head man to the success, long-term success of a franchise?
Well, he's got to have a vision. He's got to keep everybody kind of, tethered to that vision. Some guys need more tending to than others, but Lindy and Darcy, for that matter, had a vision coming off of the lockout. They didn't really waste time, where a lot of guys thought that lockout was inevitably going to be over after half a year, and we're just going to go about playing. Larry Quinn, Darcy Gear, Tom Golisano for believing in those guys, and then Lindy, the presence with that group in Rochester, and the commitment towards this going to be a new style of hockey when this all ends. Credit to them for, pushing and trying to make the league grow in a way, rule wise. I know they were a big part of that. And then, credit to the NHL for sticking to it, taking a step forward. We have to keep taking steps forward and, helping the game evolve. And I think that we, at the right time, we were paying attention, and the whole organization is paying attention. And being a small organization meant maybe we were a little bit more nimble in that way. Like, there could be decisions made that didn't have to go through so many people. So the right decisions were made, and the group bought into it. But I think it's pretty clear what, the current Sabres need to go. I think, anytime you watch the Stanley Cup being hoisted, you can be inspired by the type of play, that it took to win. And, you don't have to look too far. There's players capable of, that kind of hockey. They're just going to have to start to believe it. And look at the Avalanche, where they were about, I guess, 6 years ago. And it wasn't very pretty. And let some of those guys, push through, and credit to them. But they had to learn how to do it the right way. I think even last year we were listening to Mckinnon talk about how he felt he hadn't done enough in his career because he had to go through it. He had to learn how to do it. So that's what's up next for the Sabres, hopefully.
Yeah. You have been way more than generous with your time, man. Thank you so much for doing this. Great to see you. I hope that you book a considerable amount of time here next year when you come in for the ceremony. You can share it with the guys that are in town and certainly with the community, because I know we're going to love to see you, and we're going to love to hopefully at some point, find you out there and hang out a little bit. But good luck with the baby, obviously. Best to the rest of the fam. And yeah, man, congratulations on everything. It's been a well-deserved, everything that's coming your way is so well-deserved. And you were such a class guy and such a great player for Buffalo in so many different ways, and such a great member of our community. So I know I'm kissing your ass too much, but it's meaningful, and I hope you take it to heart.
I do. I appreciate it. I love my time there, and it's very important to me. So I'm looking forward to getting back, and thanks for having the chat.
Absolutely, man. Yeah, we'll see you soon. Have a great summer.
Yeah, you too.
And I hope it warms up for you. Be well, man.
All right, you too.
Thanks.
See ya.